my name is Hannah. Welcome back to my channel, Savage Reads. I have had a great couple weeks. Some really good books that I want to talk about, but quick crafting update. I did finish my dress and I'm really happy with it. So I'm going to put a picture of me wearing it up here, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it's really pretty and I had a lot of fun with this pattern. So happy with that. I'm excited to get on to the next thing, but right now I have a little bit of scrap yarn. So I'm just making a lot of scrunchies as presents. But on a separate crafting note, I have decided to get a little bit more into painting. So last week here in Catalonia, we had our day of Sant Jordi, where it is kind of the Catalan Valentine's Day. You give the people that you love either a rose or a book. And of course, it is the best holiday ever, getting books, giving books, getting roses. And for my husband, I often like to make him a rose, make him something a little extra special and heartfelt. So in past years, I have knitted a rose, I have embroidered one, I have felted one, I learned how to play La Vie en Rose on the piano, all of those things. So this year I decided to try my hand at painting them, and this is what I came up with. I'll show you the picture. And I had so much fun. I really want to work on my painting skills. So I tried another painting that I'm not going to show you because it turned out horribly. And then I did this one, and I'm liking how it's turning out. So that's kind of an update on how my hobbies are evolving. The knitting isn't going anywhere because I like something to do with my hands. But on the occasion when I can sit down for an hour or two and paint, I am having a lot of fun with that. So if you have any suggestions on your favorite painting tutorials, I am working with acrylics, let me know in the comments down below because it is something that I am trying to learn. My husband knows one of my very favorite authors of all time is Patrick Radden Keefe, and so when we found out there was a new book coming out from Patrick Radden Keefe, he had to buy it for me. And this is London Falling, A Mysterious Death in a Gilded City and a Family Search for Truth. Now, this is amazing. It's Patrick Radden Keefe. His writing is so engaging. It's the kind of book that you start and you really don't want to put it down because you just need to know what happens. He's really good at stringing together a narrative, that narrative nonfiction that is both well-researched but really engaging, and he just does such a good job with it. And so I absolutely adored reading this. It is following the story of the tragic death of Zach Bretler and his parents trying to figure out what went on and how he got entangled with dangerous people. Now, if you follow my channel, you know that true crime is not always my very favorite genre because I do feel like it can be exploitative and it can be glorifying the murderers and insensitive to victims. I think there are a lot of issues that can come up around that, but I think this book managed to do a good job at dealing with a true crime type of thing, but really painting a picture of more of the broad societal impact that this has and what is going on in London that allows this kind of thing to happen. And also, I think that it was very respectful because it was done with the parents' full support and help. This was the parents trying to make sense of their son's death, and you can see that this book would be very healing and helpful for them. And so I think if you are concerned about getting into this book because of the true crime aspect, I think you will be fine. But if you're just going into this because it is a Patrick Radden Keefe book and he always has a really interesting take on society, you are not going to be disappointed because it is just fascinating to understand how this criminal underworld comes to be, how people can be fraudsters and con men and gangsters, and how London has policies set up that are allowing that kind of thing to flourish. And I just thought that this book was just excellent. I mean, I really can't say anything negative about it. I am so glad that I got it, and I do highly, highly recommend it. Now, if you have never read a Patrick Radden Keefe book, I don't know if this is the first one I'd go with. I think I would still say maybe Say Nothing. I really liked Say Nothing, but Empire of Pain was so good, and I've liked them all, but maybe Say Nothing. So I am going to skip the one fiction book that I read this last week and save it for the next video in order to make this a full nonfiction video and talk about the rest of the nonfiction that I read this last week. So one that I read is Everyone Who Is Gone Is Here, The United States, Central America, and the Making of a Crisis by Jonathan Blitzer. And this was a recommendation from Melinda over at Web of Stories, and this book was also excellent. I think it does kind of exactly what it says in the title. It is talking about immigration. It focuses a lot on the circumstances in El Salvador and Guatemala and how that led to a lot of forced migration, getting away from really dangerous situations. It talks about how the US caused a lot of these issues in the first place, and now has the audacity to be super upset that people have to leave those situations. And it talks about the missteps and the pitfalls and how did we get to where we are now with immigration in the United States. It gives you a really great understanding of how a lot of the policies that the US has had for the past 50, 100 years have really shaped what is going on now. It gives you a really good basis to understand a little bit of the history. Some of these things are things that I have already learned about from other books that have talked about immigration, but I thought this was a really great overview. And so I highly recommend it to anyone who would like to understand a little bit more about immigration, the problems behind it, the problems that immigrants to the US face, the problems in getting a green card and citizenship, the problems that cause people to leave their home countries in the first place, and how the US is dealing with it, how it has dealt with it in the past. And of course, this book came out 2 years ago, so things have definitely changed in the past couple years, and I think that this book gives you a really good setup to understanding a lot of current events. So this was just a fantastic nonfiction book. Now, this nonfiction book was a little bit lighter, and we have The Feather Detective, Mystery Mayhem, and the Magnificent Life of Roxy Laybourne by Chris Sweeney. And this was a recommendation from a comment, and I am so glad that I picked this up because it was kind of delightful. This is really just a biography of the life of Roxy Laybourne and her life as the first forensic ornithologist, and the sexism and the prejudice that she had to deal with in her working life in the 60s and 70s, and how she was able to build her career and build her expertise and really be able to identify these different birds. Now, does it have some heavier topics? Yes, of course, because she was called as a witness in a lot of crimes, because there are feathers that show up in crime scenes. Feathers from pillows, feathers from down jackets, feathers from birds that took down airplanes, all of those things. And Roxy was able to identify them and teach others how to identify them. And so learning about her life was really interesting. Learning about the ornithology was kind of cool. Learning about the different types of feathers and why and how it was significant in different cases was really interesting. And kind of this whole new science that she had, not just studying birds for the sake of studying birds, but studying birds and being able to use it in real world problems. I thought it was really a fun book, an interesting one. If you love a nonfiction that gives you a bit of a biography, but without something that really drags you down too much, I found this book to be rather uplifting. Now, this book was a recommendation from the channel The Cat Bite, and this is Empire of Normality, Neurodiversity, and Capitalism by Robert Chapman. This book is delving into the philosophy behind the neurodivergent movement and how we have historically viewed mental health, how it relates to society at large, and what we can do about it. So it focuses a lot about how under a capitalist structure, we are all being disabled in different ways, and the idea that as we accept more neurodiversity, as we accept people for who they are and the benefits that they bring to things and not just the capital gains that we can get from their labor, brings all of us up. And I thought that it was really interesting. Now, who do I recommend this to? I recommend this to somebody who has already engaged with some disability activism or read books about it. I'm thinking some easier to consume books. I recently read the book Disability Visibility. I also read the book Sitting Pretty, The View from My Ordinary Resilient Disabled Body, and books like that are a really great way to ease you into understanding disability activism. Now, Empire of Normality is really interesting in a deep philosophy sort of way, but if you aren't already familiar with the ideas, I do think that this could feel a little bit dry, got a little bit more of that dry, jargon, researched kind of tone. And so I think if you have already engaged with the other things, you might really enjoy this, but I would recommend that you understand some of these ideas. If discussion of Marxist ideas is not your idea of a good time, maybe don't pick this up. But I thought that it did bring a lot to the book, the way the author discussed Marxist ideas and the critiques of capitalism that are disabling to so many people. So overall, this is a philosophy book, which isn't always my cup of tea, but I think it had some really good ideas. I just think that you need to be the right person in order to engage with this one. And those are all the books that I am going to talk about this week. If you have thoughts on these or any great nonfiction books that I should add to my to-be-read list, let me know in the comments down below. But thank you for watching, and I will be back soon with another book wrap-up.